Okay, everybody, thank you so much for being here. We are going to go ahead and get started. So let's see, Alondra's here. Okay, all right. So thank you so much for attending our very first professional development workshop. Today we will be focusing on networking and LinkedIn for undoc student success. And we go ahead and move over to the introduction slide now. So I believe everybody is here. Let me go ahead and actually look at the participants. Okay, so I think everybody that needs to be here is here. So we will briefly introduce ourselves since most of us know who myself and Alondra are. So Alondra, go ahead and just briefly again introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, it's me, Alondra, your professional development peer coach at USS. Hope you all are well.
Thank you, thank you. And again, Christian Gonzalez, Assistant Coordinator at Undocumented Student Services. And we are also having a guest speaker a little bit later on in the workshop. So her name is Jennifer Cano, and she is a UC San Diego alum, and she graduated from UC San Diego just this past spring quarter. So she will be joining us later for the second part of this workshop. So I'll go ahead and dive in as to why it's important for students to network, especially as they are navigating their undergrad and graduate careers. So as you all navigate your education at UC San Diego, it is important to build a community or network as a student to enhance future professional opportunities. And this is something that we really wanted to start off, especially as since it's the beginning and now kind of the middle of the fall quarter. And I'm sure you'll have heard of the saying, it's not, it's not what you know, but it's who you know. And so networking is, again, building that connection with other professionals, other students, other experts in your field to make sure that you are opening doors for the future, but getting started now. And so there was a survey conducted by Monster College in which it said that 78% of job seeker respondents who were recent college graduates said that networking was a factor in their job searches. And so no wonder, since most experts agree that up to 85% of all new jobs are found through networking. And so again, it's making sure that for undergraduate students and graduate students that you all are aware of why networking is so important, especially as you prepare to take on either internships or other employment opportunities, or even conducting research or doing some practical work. And so for us, we wanted to start this off early, so that way as you navigate the quarter but also the rest of the academic year, you are more you have that in the back of your mind, so that way you could, every interaction, every connection that you make, whether it's with faculty or a staff member or another student, you kind of keep that in the back of your mind, that this is networking, this is building connections that will, again, hopefully enhance, either current or future professional opportunities. I did want to start off with a TED Talk by Isaac Serwanga, and Isaac specifically talks about what he refers to as the 3 bones of networking for student success. And so we are going to just very briefly watch this and discuss what he what he was discussing. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to reshare, because I do want to share sound. Okay, there we go. Share again. Okay, can everybody see this? Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
It's just a white screen.
It's just a white screen. Okay. Screen shared. Okay. Resume share. Can you see it now?
Still a white screen.
Still a white screen. Okay, let me see. Okay, can you all see this now? Yes? Or is it still a white screen?
Still a white screen.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Share. Yes?
Yeah, we can see the presentation.
Okay, all right, let me see, because I wanted to open it up in a different tab. So let me go ahead and see if we can play here. Okay. Can you all hear it?
Yes.
Okay, okay, perfect. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Let me make this into a full screen. Let's see what happens.
June 4th, 2013. It was graduation for me, and it was mixed emotions. On one side, I was elated to graduate from the #1 academic institution in the country. I was excited. On the other end, and we have some college graduates here, to graduate unemployed kind of hurts your gut a little bit. But it raised some questions. And I can remember one of my good friends giving me a book. And the book changed.
Oh no, oh no. Oh no, what happened? What happened? Hold on. Let me maximize this again. Okay. I apologize about that.
June 4th, 2013. It was graduation for me, and it was mixed emotions. On one side, I was elated to graduate from the #1 academic institution in the country. I was excited. On the other end, and we have some college graduates here, to graduate unemployed kind of hurts your gut a little bit. But it raised some questions. And I can remember one of my good friends giving me a book, and the book changed my perspective. The book was Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. It talked about his journey, his professional journey, as he used networking and building relationships to not only grow professionally, but personally. So I thought to myself, if it could work for him, maybe I should try it. So the next 6 months I did. And the results were amazing. Instead of looking for jobs, instead of reaching out, jobs were coming to me. JP Morgan, NCAA, Princeton University. I was amazed. I was excited for myself, but more so, it raised the question in my mind. How was I getting these results? And number two, why aren't our academic institutions, why aren't our colleges and our high schools teaching young people this very important skill set? This inspired me. So I went back to my alma mater and I wanted to tell my friends. Profound Ivy was a program that was a passion project, but it grew to so much more. And over the course of 3 years, I wanted to teach these principles of networking to young people just like me, so that when graduation comes, they wouldn't experience that same feeling. Over the course of 3 years, results were great. Over 90% of the students that were in Profound Ivy landed their dream internship or their dream job at the end of the year. College undergraduates rather, they understand the principles of networking. But how can we take this ever so important detail and apply it to young people? I thought long and hard. A year goes by, and I go to Compton, California, and I'm asked to teach networking to students. Of course, I say it's great. Catch. Now they're elementary students. You guys laugh because you understand there's a little bit of a different pace there. I remember the first time I walked in the classroom, And I'm thinking to myself, how do you teach this complex topic, but ever so important to young people? So I asked the crowd and I say, does anybody have a dream? And a young man by the name of Alejandro, he's about 4 feet tall, but his arm shot to the sky. He said, I have a dream, I have a dream. I said, Alejandro. And he stood up and he said, my dream is to be a lacrosse coach, like my lacrosse coaches. And I said, okay, he has a dream. And I thought to myself, this is important here. He knew something. There was some conviction there. So I want to share with you what I believe can be incredibly important for young people. How do we teach young people the principles of networking? 3 bones to networking. 3 simple bones. And you guys all know this. We all know this. It's common sense. But sometimes common sense is not common practice. So the first bone of networking, wishbone. Whether you're a college graduate or you're in elementary school, what do you want? And who can help you attain that? Alejandro had it. He wanted to be a lacrosse coach. And he knew that he had to reach out to a lacrosse community to take that very next step. Bone number 2, jawbone. Now there's 2 components to a jawbone: competency and humility. Competency and humility. Competency. Do you know what you're talking about? Have you done your research? One of the reasons I believe Profound Ivy was so good at producing results was because before students would reach out, we made sure that they did research on their industry, and then their company, and then the department, and then the position, and then the individual. So before they began to network, they had so much extensive knowledge, but by the time they opened their mouths, people were intrigued to hear what they had to say. The other part of that jawbone, humility. You can know everything in the world, but if people don't like you, they will not help you. One simple part of humility is this, and I'm wearing his shoes. These are Gary Vee shoes, and he has his principle that he says, and it's 51-49. Whenever we make a relationship and we're trying to connect with someone, it's usually 50-50. But in networking, if we can learn how to be the 51, if we can learn how to give more, if every time we reach out to someone, we could look and say, what is it that they're looking for and how can I help? It puts us in a position to succeed. And last but not least, my favorite, the last bone that we need to network is the backbone. Persist, persist, persist. The most common word in networking is the word no. You'll hear it over and over again. I like to tell students this story, and I'll tell it to you the same way. I wanted to become an author. I had no idea how to begin. Very simple formula, and I wanted to follow my own advice. I wanted to reach out to 10 authors who wrote in the particular area that I wanted to write in. I read 10 of their books. At the end of their book, I saw their email. I reached out to the 10 authors. Of the 10 authors I reached out to, 2 replied to me. Of the 2 that got back to me, 1 responded, and he was a best-selling author, and I'm so excited, and I opened the email, and it says, good luck. But there was 1 guy, a guy by the name of Adam, someone who I still talk to this day. Adam called me. Adam spoke to me on the phone for 3 hours. Adam taught me how to market a book, how to publish a book, how to write chapter by chapter. And at the end of our call, Adam told me, call me when you finish chapter 1. Powerful. Powerful. Through networking. Through networking. That was my passion, to become an author, and networking got me there. The reason why I believe these 3 bones to networking is so crucial in today's world is because young people have to understand this is a skill set. I envision a time where networking is taught just like math, just like reading, just like writing, Because in the 21st century, I truly, truly believe that networking is the currency of our age today. An individual who has the ability to make connections with one another, you'll always be in a place where you can progress, where you can go forward. Skill sets are okay, right? Most people think of networking as a skill set. But I hope with today, and I hope going forward, that we can start to teach younger people that networking is also a skill set, but it's also a mindset. The people to your left and your right can help you in ways you couldn't possibly imagine. So if any of you know young people, and you're saying, what do you want to teach them? 3 bones to networking. Wishbone. State what you want. Jawbone. Ask with competency and humility. And last but not least, backbone. Persist, persist, persist. Thank you, guys.
Okay, can everybody see the slides again?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, yes, we can.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Okay. All right. Oh, now it starts. Okay. All right. So I would like to get some thoughts. So what did you find most impactful about Isaac's TED Talk as it relates to networking and building connections? So what jumped out about anything that he said?
Sorry. I like the whole how he emphasized like doing research. I think that's really important, and I've been in that situation where like I ran out of things to say because I didn't fully do like a full in-depth research on who I was talking to. So I thought that was really important how he really emphasized it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dalia. Thank you. Okay. Who else? So doing your research, making sure that you, what did he say? Know what you're talking about, right? Making sure that you're not only researching the field, but it's the company, it's the individual, making sure that you're well aware as to what either what they're working on or what some of the trends are. So yeah, so thank you, Dalia. Anybody else?
What stood out to me was when he said that sometimes they'll say no, and that's okay. Like you'll just like it just didn't work out, but you'll find someone who it'll work out better with.
Yes, thank you, Anna. Yes, so when it comes to networking, it's reaching out to various individuals. Like he said, he reached out to 10 authors, and one of them, 2 of them got back to him, and one of them said good luck, and the other, he built a very meaningful relationship with, right? That was uplifting and motivating. So with networking comes with projection, right, from individuals that are in the industry, or individuals that may not be the right opportunity for you, right? Does anybody else have any other thoughts?
For me, it was humility. How if someone likes you, or if you convince them to like you, they're more likely to help you reach your goals, pretty much.
Yes. He, I really did enjoy when he talked about that, if people are more likely to help you if they like you. And that kind of goes back to, what Dalia just mentioned, is like, you have to know your research. You can't just go into a space and kind of, expect to be the expert, but also making sure that you take the time to do your research, and that way you're able to better connect, and that shows them that you're interested. So that builds like ability, right? So yes, thank you, Pedro. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on, and thank you so much for chiming in. As he discussed, I really appreciated his philosophy when it comes to networking. And as he mentioned, the three bones of networking, the wishbone, stating what you want. And I really appreciated when he talked about his experiences with teaching networking to young kids, right? Because when you think of networking, you think of that's something that you do either in college or after graduating from college, because you're seeking an opportunity or a job. And so him asking a young student, what do you want to be when you grow up, and who's going to help you get there, right? So that was the wishbone. The jawbone is, as Dalia and Pedro mentioned, asking with competency and humility, making sure that you've done your research, that you're a well-informed individual before going into to build a connection or start a connection. And then the backbone is persist. This, out of all of the bones that he discussed, this one was the one that that spoke to me the most, because this is the one that I've seen probably for at least with my time in higher education, is students who are persistent, young professionals who are persistent, are more likely to get opportunities because they're recognized. I still remember one of our interns from not last year but the year before. They were really interested in becoming an intern, and they would contact us, and they on a weekly basis, asking about opportunities, until we saw her application and we said, yes, she's persistent, she's professional, she's qualified, let's go ahead and go with her. So this is very true, especially again for young professionals to wanting to get experience in the field and build connections. Being persistent is really important. And so as Anna mentioned, if one person says no, that does not mean that's the end. That's just an opportunity for you to continue and reaching out to more individuals who will take that opportunity to work with you or to provide you with those skills. Okay, and Alondra?
Now it's my turn. So what is networking? So I feel like we really just went over that in that TED Talk we just saw, but I'll just kind of read to you what's on here. So as it says here, networking is the act of interacting with other people to develop professional or social relationships, right? And these relationships can be mutually beneficial. So networking sounds pretty simple because it's just connecting with other people. And sometimes when you think about it too long, it sounds really difficult. At least that's my experience with it. But really, I can give you a really simple example of the time you've been networking is when you first met with me, right? You met with me because it's a part of the program requirement. And I met with you because it's a part of my job description, right? So right there, we're developing a professional relationship between each other. But at the end of the day, I get to learn a lot about you. So if from somewhere else I hear about an opportunity and I might be like, oh, I know someone who would be perfect for this, let me recommend them, let me send them an email and see if they're interested, right? I can connect you with that opportunity. So it's give and take relationship. Professional. So networking really easy. So again, even when you met with Christiane, you're networking, she's a part of your network now. So we're constantly building relationships, and the reason for our relationship was for a purpose, but not all networking relationships have to have a purpose. Sometimes you just meet people and you're just like, oh, I'm never going to talk to them again, or when am I going to see them again? But then you find a few years later, you're looking for someone who, I don't know, let's see, knows how to do some chemistry stuff because it just falls under your research. So then you reach out to them and you're just like, hey, can I bounce this idea off of you? So it's this opportunity to really bounce ideas between you and them, or they can connect you with other people within chemistry and you can bounce ideas with them, right? So it's give and take in a way. Next slide, please.
Yeah, Alondra, I wanted to actually bounce off of what you just mentioned. Is even in this program, you all are as you all get to know each other, you're all building a network. So who's to say that after you all graduate, you will remember, hopefully you all will remember each other and will, utilize each other again to build more connections. Like, for example, let's say, Abby, when she, fills her dreams of becoming an educator, and let's say one of her students really wants to be an aerospace engineer, she can very well connect, Pedro, I know Pedro, majored in aerospace engineer, I can connect you to him, so that way you can get more, build more connections. And so all of us that are part of this program and a part of Undoc are building a network without really realizing it. So as Alondra mentioned, as she gets to know you all and your interests, and she finds an opportunity, she will say, oh, like this is a perfect opportunity for Salvador or for Dalia or for Abby. So that again is building that network.
Yes. So top 4 reasons to network. So again, the very first one is you find new connections, you meet new people, right? And sometimes it doesn't even have to be like academic. You'll just find people who have a similar interest as you, and you'll be like, we should do this together, right? So that's one of the reasons to network. So you find these new connections, whether they be academic or not academic, but it's always an opportunity to just develop ideas and create opportunities with other people. And second reason is because you learn new trends, right? So if you're staying connected with other people in your field, they're constantly like doing research or looking at research that pertains to what you're interested in. So you'll be reading up on like the latest news, and then you might also, like, if you ever have the opportunity to like actually connect with them, whether it be through chat or like in person, you'll have the opportunity to bring up like this trend that's happening. So for example, I'm a global health major, so a trend in my field is COVID. Right? So I should be able to like say something about COVID if I were talking to like a professor or a faculty member. And if for some reason I don't have anything meaningful to say about COVID, then that's really a missed opportunity for me to make a good impression on someone who could possibly like introduce me to like a dream job, or other people who can get me to that dream job. So it's really important to like stay up to date with what's going on. And just also like staying up to date with like the research that the people you're interested are doing, right? Because then you could always ask them about it later. And one simple way to like stay up to date with trends is just by like subscribing to newsletters, or like some of like the top companies that you're like interested in, like you're just interested in, whether it be because you want to work there or not. And by staying up to date with these trends, you're also developing new skills, right? Because you're analyzing this information, you're absorbing it, observing it, not absorbing it, but that too. Let's see, what else are you doing? Well, yeah, right. It's like, for example, me as a global health major, when I read these news articles on like on how people are responding to COVID, I'm distinguishing between true and false information. And that's a very important skill to have, right? Because people easily get swayed by false information, but not a lot of the general public who have an education know the difference between true and false. They kind of just believe that everything on social media is true. So yes, so you develop new skills. And then fourthly, you get access to research, right? When you're connecting with people, you're getting access to the like range of knowledge that they have. Right? And also by connecting with them, they might be able to connect you with people on their team and the resources that they have available. So those are the 4 reasons you should network.
Awesome. Thank you, Alondra. Okay, and so let's go ahead and shift gears to networks for undocumented, documented students. And the section specifically will focus on communities for your empowerment and upward mobility. So why is early networking important for undocumented students in particular? So again, with the uncertainty of the political climate, it is important for undoc students to begin networking early in their academic careers to explore future professional aspirations. Our goal with this program, but also with our professional development workshops, is so undoc students can feel confident and empowered to pursue their dreams regardless of immigration status after graduation. The one thing that we do, what we want is for undoc students after they have earned, you know, their degree to really, you know, walk out into the world and really just, you know, take ownership of their future, of their careers and of their lives, and to not be fearful of navigating, you know, spaces without either having connections or having experiences. So and this includes undoc students being knowledgeable of what career options they have without DACA or a work permit, or even what career options are not available to young professionals with DACA. So it's important for our undocumented student community to, again, to be aware and to know what options are going to be best for them, so that way they can start planning early on in their academic careers. Next is gaining various experiences, whether it's research or it's practical in their field, by, again, as Alondra was mentioning, connecting with especially faculty or staff members that are experts in your field, and then being able to build a network around that. And also, again, connecting with professionals that will enhance your future opportunities. For those of you that have mentors, whether it's academic mentors or personal mentors, you know, these professionals will be able to provide you an insight into the field. They'll also provide you with other connections that will be able to, again, elevate you and your career opportunities into the future. So it's great to start focusing on networking early and not wait until you graduate, because oftentimes that's what makes students or alum very nervous, is you know, getting ready to graduate and not knowing how to find connections, or how to begin looking for either employment or income generating opportunities. So that's why this is very important to focus now, to start, you know, creating a roadmap to either, again, networking, to connections, to resources and opportunities. So specific networks of support that are specific to undoc, not only undoc students, but undoc populations. So Undocumented Student Services is one network, as Alondra mentioned, not only within the Dream Fellowship program, but within Undocumented Student Services. That includes our professional staff, Daniel and Andres, but also our student staff is here to support you all by connecting you to not only opportunities within UCSD, but also within the UC system. I also want to make all of you aware, I'm sure that you all are, but there are undoc student centers, resource centers at all of the UCs. So let's say if you're really interested in going to grad school at UCLA or like Berkeley or like UC Riverside, and you want to connect with another network, we can definitely connect you with their coordinators, and they can provide you with additional information about resources, about opportunities, about employment. So it's not just limited to UCSD, but it's the UC system as a whole, and also connecting with UC alum and UC undoc alum that have already, you know, gone through UCSD, have been, you know, in the workforce, or have been doing their own either consulting or independent contracting. So we have just so many connections within undoc and within UCSD, but again, it's also within the UC system as a whole. The next network of support that I want to, and I don't know if you all are familiar with it, is the UC Undocumented Student Coalition. And this is a network of undocumented students within the UC system to organize collectively. In the past, they've had conferences only tailored to undoc students, where they bring speakers, they have workshops, they have different keynotes, and this really is a big opportunity for undoc students to network and to, you know, build community and meet new people that are going to be opening opportunities for the future. And next, another network of support is Immigrants Rising. So this is a nonprofit organization that provides resources for mental health, for income generating opportunities, even legal support. So Immigrants Rising is an organization that I just cannot highlight enough, because they do just such good work in the community. And even amongst Immigrants Rising, they have a large, like, nationwide network of undoc entrepreneurs, undoc professionals in the health field, in the STEM field. So within Immigrants Rising, within the UC Undocumented Student Coalition, and within undoc, there is just so much support out there. And the amazing thing is that everybody wants to help each other. It's all about uplifting one another and making sure that all of you are exposed to all of these opportunities that are available. Other networks, other opportunities to network at UCSD. I think you all have already heard of this, but the Coffee with a Prof program is available and it's open, I believe, and I don't know if it's happening, I don't think it's happening now, but when we were on campus, that was definitely a program that students could go and, you know, network with and talk with a professor or a faculty member that they were interested in learning more about. And coffee, you would receive a coffee or a dinner voucher from your college. Something else to focus on are the virtual career and internship fairs that are hosted by the Career Center. There's also a lot of opportunities for student conferences. Obviously right now they're more virtual, but they still exist to, again, provide students with more networking opportunities with different fields or different experts in a specific area. So make sure that as you navigate the Career Center or other opportunities that you actively, participate, so that way you can start putting yourself out there and start being exposed to different opportunities. And we will go ahead and I will shift it back over to Alondra, and she will be talking about a platform for networking.
Next slide, please. Okay, so one platform that's especially important when it comes to networking is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your go-to networking virtual site. And in short, LinkedIn is basically like your virtual resume, where you have a list of all the experience you've done, where you've gotten your education, what you're currently doing, the skills you developed, and there's even a section for other people who you've worked with to like leave you a recommendation on there. So LinkedIn is this fantastic site to like see what other people are doing in their field, and for other people to see what you're doing in your field. And it's important to have a LinkedIn because it provides some credibility. It provides credibility to like what you have done and what you have done in the past, and those who can vouch for you, right? A good LinkedIn account usually has more than 500 connections. So that's a lot of people you have to connect with, but those are lots of people who can say, I know this person does a good work in this or that. If I ever have to reference them somewhere, I will, right? And one thing that's really nice about LinkedIn is you can see, if you're looking at someone's account, you can see if you have any mutual connections. And sometimes when you have mutual connections, it's easier to try and connect with that person, because you could start that conversation by like, oh, I see you know that this person, I also know this person, and maybe start a conversation from there. Or you could start a conversation kind of like based on your education. So another good thing is you could see LinkedIn like automatically tells you how many people are in a certain company are alumni from your university, right? So if you're trying to apply to a job, let's pretend we're trying to apply to Sony, right? They're a technology company. If you looked on Sony's profile, it tells you, oh, there's 100 UCSD alumni, and you can click on that and you can see a list of all the UCSD alumni that are currently working at Sony. And that gives you an opportunity to connect with those people who work at Sony to try and see if you could get some references or like more information on how it's like working at Sony, or like just to connect with people, right? Like, I want to work at Sony, so like, can you reference me for an internship, or can you reference me for a job opportunity? And so when you're doing something like cold networking, it's always good to make sure there's some similarity between you and the person you're trying to connect with. And by the way, cold networking is when you're connecting with someone who you never talked to before. So it's always good to have that similarity. Also, it just makes finding connections so much easier, because if you can find someone's account, you'll usually also find their email, right? And if you want to like connect with them through email, you now no longer have to go through like the company website to find them. And another good thing about LinkedIn is you can also apply for jobs on there. And again, LinkedIn is your virtual resume. Employers will be looking at your LinkedIn account. So LinkedIn is a very good platform to network on. Next slide, please. So make sure you connect with Christian and I. So as you can see, our URLs are down there, and that's what our profiles look like. If you don't have a LinkedIn right now, don't worry about it. We can work on creating one throughout the quarter, but it's a good idea to connect with us as soon as you do. Next slide, please. And back to you, Christian.
Okay, thank you, Alondra. All right, so right now I am going to turn it over to our guest speaker, Jennifer Cano. As I mentioned earlier, Jen graduated this past spring with a Bachelor of Science in Political Science and Data Analytics and a minor in Entrepreneurship. Jen is also an alum of the Dream Fellowship Program. She was in the program from the 2018-2019 academic year. And I am so excited to to have her was part of our webinar, and just really, really proud of all of that Jen has accomplished throughout her time at UCSD, but also all of the amazing things that she's going to be doing in the future. So I will go ahead and turn it over to our guest speaker, Jennifer Cano.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Christian, for introducing me. Yeah, so if you guys have already been learning a lot about networking, so already if you're doing it right, or if you're not, it's okay. You know, you should be thinking by the end of today, I want to connect with Jennifer and see if she has a LinkedIn. Okay, so can I get the next slide, please? Okay, so when should you start using LinkedIn? And the reason why you need to start as soon as possible, I think, is because none of us are born knowing how to network. It's not a skill that a lot of professors or schools are teaching us. So it does take a time to develop your networking skills, and it's okay to not be that great at it at first. I mean, even to this day, I cannot say with 100% confidence that I'm a great networker. I know that there's a lot of room to grow, and the professional world is always shifting and evolving, and so you need to stay up to date with it. This is like your homework assignment as you go through college and as you become an adult, a professional adult. And so the reason why you should start using LinkedIn as soon as possible is also because you are in a very special space. You know, you guys are within the Undoc community, but you guys are also within the UCSD community, and not that many people get to, like, in the real adult world, you don't get to really interact with as many individuals as you do in college. So you guys are in such a special space. Like, please take advantage. I know that right now with Zoom and stuff, things feel kind of awkward, but regardless, you know, the schools are, the university is still doing many events where you get the chance to meet other students, other professors, guest speakers. And so what I'm trying to say is, you know more people than you think, really. And you also have more experience than you think. Some of you guys might be freshmen. I don't know what year specifically you are, but you can also talk about like volunteer experiences that you've had in high school, student orgs that you are a part of right now, internships that you'll be getting, jobs that you've had in the past, research. Also a big one that I noted was classes. Sometimes you really do really cool stuff in your classes. You do really cool research. I have a friend who did a research in college, and then that's the research that landed him a job in Google. He was very passionate about it on LinkedIn. And when he asked, like, you know, what was it that made you guys hire me? They said, you know, your passion that we saw in your research. So you never know who's going to see your profile and who's going to be impressed by what you have to offer. Okay, can I get the next slide? So networking through LinkedIn. So I like to think of LinkedIn as your personal business card or a resume. So if your phone is on with you, then you'll always be ready. So assuming that you do the work, you go through your profile and you create a profile that is very reflective of who you are and what your future career goals are, then you know, you never know who you'll meet. And if you have your phone, you tell them, you know, hey, do you have a LinkedIn where we can connect? And what I really love about LinkedIn is that sometimes you don't really have the chance to tell someone about what your professional goals. And so what LinkedIn allows you to do is, you know, you give them your LinkedIn, and then when they accept you as a friend, then they'll go through your profile and now they'll get a better sense of who you are, right? And so one of the things I also really like about LinkedIn is that it is a great research tool. And so what do I mean by that? What I like to do is I like to think of what my end goals are, and then I like to look for people who have that career position. And normally, you know, in the workforce, I feel like a lot of people get discouraged because they're like, oh my gosh, I just graduated out of college and this entry job position is asking for 5 years of experience. Like, where am I supposed to get that? And what I like to do is I like to work backwards. I like to see, what did they do? What career experiences did they have to get to that endpoint? So that I can see, you know, what was that first job that they got that eventually led them to that end goal result that I want. So that just kind of helps me think of things in like smaller, more reasonable goals. Let's see. Yeah, I do want to say also, you never know what opportunity awaits you on LinkedIn, but I'm also a big believer that luck is not the only thing that plays a factor. You must prepare. Like, you know, like I said earlier, like, you never know who's going to see your profile and say, maybe they are a good fit for this specific job we're hiring for, or, oh, I forgot there was this new opportunity. Maybe that's someone I want to share that with. I also want to talk about like my personal experience. So I just graduated in June, and, you know, with COVID, I thought there was no way I was going to get a job. But I did, and I did get a lot of people that hit me up on LinkedIn. I was very open on my LinkedIn, and I said, you know, I am looking for a job right now. Like, these are my passions. And I had someone from my senior year of high school. I did an internship at this solar tech company. And this guy who I like briefly talked to, he ended up hitting me up senior year of college and saying, hey, I just joined, I'm going to be the CFO of a company and I would like for you to work here. And he had completely slipped my mind. I forgot he existed, to be honest, but I had connected with him in my senior year of high school, and he saw my post, and I guess he liked the way I worked. And so here he was saying, hey, Jen, like, there's this opportunity. And so that's how LinkedIn works. That's how the magic works. You never know who you know right now and who they'll be in the future, and how those networks will work and get you to your end goals. And I also had this experience where I was in the women of business at UCSD, and this girl told me, hey, we didn't get to really interact, but I think you would be a good fit. And I vouch for anyone who was in this org. So I didn't get that job, but regardless, I know that she took my resume and handed it to someone in HR. And let me tell you, a lot of times people are not reading your resumes or your cover letters. So being able to get someone to actually look at your application and take that time, it will definitely be in your favor. So can I get the next slide? Okay, so start now. And I know that means for some of you guys might be familiar. I mean, on the chat box, how many of you guys do have a LinkedIn? You can just say, like, type yes or type no. Okay, yes, okay. We have one yes. Is there any more yeses? Is there anyone who doesn't have a LinkedIn and they've been like, okay, I've been meaning to get on it, but I just haven't? From the people who have said yes, how many of you guys are proud and would back up your LinkedIn and say, yes, my LinkedIn is ready to go and I'm ready to conquer the world? Let's see. Yeah, so nope, okay. Not yet. Okay, yeah. As you, for those of you who don't have a LinkedIn, you are learning that it's hard to have a LinkedIn that you're like, okay, like, this is really good. Like, it does take some time and effort. So when I say start now, for those of you who don't have a LinkedIn, create a LinkedIn. That's a big step in itself. And complete your profile. Have a professional photo that you like about yourself. Start filling in your experiences, start putting in what exactly you did within an org, or the classes you took and their description. I find that a lot of people like seeing numbers. So, if you've raised some money, like be as specific as possible. Was it $500? That doesn't matter, like the exact amount, but, being able to put an amount and putting what exactly that cause was for, that really helps you. Also, build your network with the people you know. Like, I think oftentimes we think networking means, if I get to network with the CEO of Facebook, then I'll get the job I want. No, like oftentimes it's your really close network, the people who know you, who have worked with you, who will vouch for you, who will give you that letter of recommendation, who will tell you, this is the right fit. This is an opportunity that I think would be a right fit for you. So you never know the power of your smaller network. And then stay active once you are confident about your profile. You can post, you can literally repost what you're reading about the professional world or the research that is exciting you. You read a research about a professor at UCSD. You can repost that, and you never know, like the professor of that research might say, thank you for sharing that. Like, we're both at UCSD there. You never know what can happen, right? And then also staying active means, celebrate your friends who post they got a new job or they got into a new school. Like, it is a very, you can make it as close of a community as you want. And then I also wrote request informational interviews. So this is kind of what we talked about earlier about doing like those cold requests. I just pulled up a really, I wanted to share a specific example, because I feel like people would say like you should try to like reach out to people on LinkedIn, and I'd be like, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but that seems a little difficult. Like, so I just wanted to give a concrete example. So here's this, and this is for trying to offer help. So it says, hi, Joe. I hope you've been well. I decided to begin a job search, and I'm currently exploring opportunities in your field. I came across your company while doing some research and really admire the work that you've been doing in X. In fact, I recently read this article, which I thought was extremely interesting and relevant. Link to article. If you're open to it, I'd love to schedule a quick 10-minute call to pick your brain. Thank you in advance for your time. So, as you can see, you don't just go and you don't just email a professional and say, hey, I really want to work at your company. Can you please send over my resume to HR? Because, then it seems like you're kind of just using them. I mean, in this example, you kind of offer something and you show your interest and you tell them, hey, I just want to talk for 10 minutes. And maybe explore that field or learn more about your job, because that's what I would like to do in the future. I thought that was just a great example. And then in the end, I put be patient. It will take you time to have a profile that you really like and that you're proud of. And then sometimes LinkedIn feels like a dead end, to be honest. I think during college, it might feel like that even more, but you will thank yourself once you're graduating. And if you have a solid LinkedIn where you'll say, okay, I'm so glad I really had an ugly profile during my college years, because now when you're a professional, when you're graduating, it's almost too late to start this journey, because you now want a job, you want to get hired. So you don't want to do all the foundational work to get hired. So just be patient. You will go through waves where you're really motivated to work on your LinkedIn. And then there will be times where you're like, no, this doesn't work. So just do that. Yeah, actually I will copy this little thing. Yeah, and for the script, I feel like you can also do, you're currently exploring opportunities, or maybe it's for you guys, it can be, I'm thinking about changing my major, it's not working out, or you see that they have a major that you want to go into. That might be an interesting conversation starter about how they chose their major. So there's that, I think. And then next, is there a next slide? Yeah, so do any of you guys have any questions? Oh, I do want to, Christian was talking earlier about like the importance of networking as an undocumented student, I do want to say, I think throughout my, in the beginning of my professional journey, I would be very frustrated sometimes about being undocumented. Um, I would, I mean, like, I don't even know why. Like, sometimes I'd be like, oh my goodness, I can't even apply to NASA, but I don't even want to like work at NASA. But, you know, we can't apply to a lot of jobs that might require citizenship. But let me just tell you, there's also a bunch of jobs and internships and programs that do allow us to apply. And I think that's where we have to really focus our energy. I personally did the UC Sacramento, like the UCDC, UC Sacramento program, and I interned at the Department of Education. And so I very much encourage you guys, like anything that the UC system offers you guys, to really take advantage of that, because even within those programs, they have a big network, and it might be a little easier for you guys to get those really like exclusive internship opportunities that you wouldn't get otherwise. So yeah, I would say stay encouraged, share your goals with people, and start networking with them. And like, yeah, I think the more you share, the more people want to help you. I think we are currently in a time where it's really scary and we don't know what's going to happen. And I think somehow people are actually right now willing to help more young people be successful, because the world is becoming super competitive as we become more globalized. So, you know, stay on top of it, don't be discouraged, and be easy on yourself and take breaks. So yeah, does anyone have any questions?
I had a question kind of going off with what you just said. So if we're looking at a job and looking at the job description doesn't mention the legal requirements to work, how can we reach out, or like who do we reach out to find out what their requirements would be?
I mean, maybe Christian has a better answer, but I think for the most part, if the job doesn't specify specifically like must be a US citizen, then for the most part, if you are a DACA recipient and you have a work authorization permit that hasn't expired, you should be fine.
Yes, that's a good question, Dalia. So for any employment opportunities and that list of like requirements that they don't have what is required, oftentimes what I do recommend is for students to contact, because all job postings have a contact, whether it's HR or the hiring manager. So feel free to reach out to them. And you don't have to specifically say, oh, like, oh, I have DACA. You can just say, I saw on your job posting that they it doesn't specify whether it's only for citizens or permanent residents. I currently have a work permit. Would that be suffice? Or are you, or is it open to individuals that have different immigration statuses? Where you don't have to disclose your own immigration status. It can just be very general. So oftentimes when they don't include that, I do encourage students reach out to them and get an answer. This happens actually quite a bit when it comes to internships, where they either, and this is even for those internships that say only open to citizens or permanent residents, but specifically in California, since California is a very inclusive state for undoc folks, they often they will open it up to individuals that have DACA. So there was one internship opportunity at Stanford, actually, that one of our students was really interested in, but it said it's only open for permanent residents and citizens. And she said, let me just reach out. And she did, and it turns out that that they actually did have it open for undocumented students with and without DACA. And so sometimes they don't include it, but it's always good just to ask. And like I said, there's always like either like a coordinator or a hiring manager or like an HR person, and they would be able to tell you, what's required and what isn't. So, but good question.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions for Jen? I wanted to ask Jen, because Jen, you provided just a wealth of knowledge. You have a LinkedIn. I highly encourage all of you to to connect with Jen on LinkedIn. If you have any additional questions, or if maybe she said something that really resonated with you, or you wanted to learn more about, please reach out to Jen. Jen, can you provide your LinkedIn URL on the chat, and I can also send it after we're done with the workshop. But Jen, thank you so much for providing all of this really important information. I connected with Jen because when she graduated in the spring, I saw her very active on LinkedIn, and I was like, wow, she's really putting herself out there. I was just so proud to see her, put all of her experiences, everything that she, putting her goals out there. And I really wanted her to come and speak with you all, as not only as UCSD Undoc Dream Fellowship alum, but also as a young professional that is really, navigating, the world right now. And so I admire Jen. I think Jen is gonna go very far in life, and it's her passion. And so that's why and this was also another networking opportunity that I really wanted her to speak with you all. So thank you so much. And she just included the LinkedIn to her to the chat. So please connect with her. Jen is going to be another resource for you all. And so this, let's see, and we are at time. So I wanted to thank you all for attending our workshop. Thank you so much to Jen for taking the time to meet with us. I know she's very busy with her, now she's she's working. And so again, feel free to reach out to her, and also myself and Alondra if you have any additional questions, especially if you haven't created a LinkedIn, please reach out to us for any advice. So, and thank you so much, everybody. And I hope you all have a good rest of the week.
Bye-bye. Thank you. It was good to see you, Christian, and everyone else.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you very much for once again.
Thank you. Stop sharing.